hitting start. All right, so now I have a program called OBS Studio, which allows us to hook up to YouTube, but I have to have a portal open on YouTube at the same time. So all that stuff I listed is running on one computer.
So is it gonna crash in the middle of the show?
It looks like we're going live on YouTube as I speak. So I'm gonna switch off the computer, and I'm not gonna touch this one again. I have this thing. I drug it. It's that big one on the floor that I made myself with that used to be a server, and I drug it to the up to the Chula Peak Learning Center for a talent show up there we did. And I had a buddy, and I sat him down in front of the computer, and he's techie, and he's ran video cameras and all this kind of stuff, and I started showing stuff, and he's like, dude, you have 7 programs running at the same time. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, I can't do this.
Well, not only would I think my system might handle it, but I would go nuts trying to figure out what's on.
All right, 2 minutes on the news, and then we have Ryan.
Ooh, okay.
So we'll get a little money market report.
All right.
And I wonder if I could... I'm going to try opening just one more program on the computer. Because on my main computer where I do all my talk, I can open up a window and look at that computer, with, what do they call it? AnyDesk. So we're really going to see what 30 gigs can do this morning.
Okay, all right. You're going to stress the system.
Hey, YouTube still says we're still in green, so we'll take that.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that I get to see you. Whoop, 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 whoop. Bring it back, bring it back, bring it back. Why did that jump on me? Okay, there's our first problem. I lost your picture. There you are. Why did you disappear from there?
Yeah.
Invalid source. Okay, let's start over then. Media. Didn't like me closing that at all. I just need something temporarily. Okay, you're the mayor temporarily.
Oh, okay.
Nah.
Hi, Dorothy.
She doesn't even know she's here. How did I lose your window? It's like right here on my computer, but I can't get it to go big again.
Now, if you could make her mouth move while I talk, wouldn't that be fun?
That would be fun. How did I lose you, Mike? This is weird.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
I got a little picture of Mike, but no more big picture. A little grainy one. Man, I guess I shouldn't have tried that. Oh, it's back. Okay, now. Get it out of the way. Let's go. Oh, you disappeared again. So, media files, desktop, app window, Zoom meeting. And it's me.
You got 2 of you. There I am.
There he is. All right. Why is it doing that? Okay, I guess I'm just going to leave it right there. That is so weird.
Now I got little tiny ones up above.
Well, that was there before.
Oh, okay. I remember seeing that before. But...
Yeah, it took the KCHW logo away when I joined and put little pictures of both of us. I don't know why.
Okay.
I don't know why it did that. All right. I just want to make sure this is okay. It's okay. All right. I think we're both up there. Does it look good on your end? 2 of us? Good shots?
Looks good on my end, yeah.
All right. Brian's on 20 seconds. Theme music's coming. I'm getting out of here. I'm going to play some music. You tell me if you can hear it real quick. Hold on.
Ryan Moore of Edward Jones, member SIPC, located.
Could you hear Ryan for a second?
Yeah, I could hear Ryan.
Good. Here we go.
Yeah.
Is that excited enough for you?
That's excited enough.
He's got happy hands.
Don't worry, be happy.
Be happy. Did you like how I disappeared behind the counter for a split second?
Right. Can you tell the sun's coming through my top window in my office?
It's like you're tanning your forehead.
I'm tanning my forehead. How's this look?
All right, little inside talk. Good morning. It's KCHW 102.7. You've got Scott Allen live here in the studio in Chewigla, and from his home office, Mr. Mike Bentz live. And we're giggling today because we played around and hooked up that Zoom meeting stuff to our system, and we've got live video feed from Mike's house, and it's so cool because 6 weeks now of morning shows we've done together, and we haven't been able to see each other, and we can actually wave. All right,
wave. That's right. Yeah.
All right, you're new.
How do you like my sunlight cap?
You're gonna need to fix that. It's kind of funny. It does. It's like your whole forehead's white from the sun.
I don't know how I'm gonna.
There you are. There's Mike. Hey.
Maybe I'll go like this. How's that sound?
All right, just
move over.
Just don't get a.
Then I got to follow the sun.
Yeah. You might try curtain.
Curtains are closed. There's this window up above that's like a skylight type thing.
Those are nice.
Do anything about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, you'll just have to look at me like I'm laying on the beach.
And that looks pretty. That looks pretty good right there. So you can catch me and Mike live this morning. We're on YouTube, and we are also on the KCHW.org website or NorthernLightsPublicRadio.com. Did you have a good week, Mr. Shutdown?
Yeah, we had a pretty good week. You know, the governor had their conference call yesterday or the day before, and it looks like we're going to be able to open the golf course at least on a limited basis on May 5th. So, a lot of people excited about that.
Now,
we got off go ahead.
I heard a rumor, though, that you can open up it's supposed to be like for fishing and recreation. I don't know if this part of it's true. I didn't read it, that you should be doing it with family members.
That's not really true.
Okay.
Well, it is, but it's kind of, I can't talk about fishing and recreation, but on a golf course, you don't have to golf with family members, but we're restricted to putting one person per cart. And so, that's going to be a little bit of a challenge. And unless you are a household, in other words, people are living in one house, there's only allowed 2 people per tee time, where normally there'd be 4. So it basically cuts our tee times in half is really what it does, our number of people that play.
All right.
But at least we're open. There's going to be some challenges. We're meeting today, some of the board, and then Jason and Sean. We've already had a pretty good strategy put together, but now we got the rule set that the state of Washington wants. So we'll refine that. So we'll be ready to rock and roll on Tuesday morning.
All right. So, do you mind if we go live to the golf course to see him getting ready? Say yes, Mike.
Yes, go to the golf course.
Okay, live to the golf course. Here we go.
I want you to kill every golfer on the course.
Check me if I'm wrong, Sandy, but if I kill all the golfers, they're going to lock me up and throw away the key.
Golfers! You're Greek, not golfers. The little brown furry rodents.
We can do that.
Aye.
We don't even have to have a reason.
Do it, man.
All right, let's do the same thing, but with gophers.
Oh, good old caddy.
I can understand what you're saying.
And now I've got another. This is Mike getting ready for the big swing.
Cinderella story, out of nowhere, a former greenskeeper now about to become the Masters champion.
And then, sorry, I got this one after hours from the golf course.
This is a hybrid. This is a cross, bluegrass, Kentucky bluegrass, featherbed bent, and Northern California sensimilla. The amazing stuff about this is that you can play 36 holes on it in the afternoon, take it home and just get stoned to the bejesus belt that night on this stuff.
So did you hear that? It's Kentucky bluegrass, something bent, and California sensimilla.
Okay.
At your local golf course now.
All right.
All right. I just saw that last night. The golf courses were opening. I knew you were going to be excited, so I had to get out some Caddyshack sound effects for you this morning. All right. I bet you're all excited about that, though, huh? Seems like a little shift back to normality or something that we so desperately need.
Yeah, but to give you an idea that of the demand, that right after the conference the governor had, literally, I immediately called Jason to get his feedback. and by the time we got off of our short call and to the next morning, he had right around 40 people had texted or left voicemails. And then people, of course, you can electronically, if you're a member, you can, or even if you're not a member, you can access and establish tea times. And it basically, in my opinion, crashed our system. So I, it's up and running now, but we had some issues with people saying they couldn't get on, and part of it being operator malfunction, but a lot of it being the system was just overwhelmed. So I think it's for next week going to be fairly busy. There are some big time restrictions. I mean, basically you show up, you golf, and you leave. So there's no socializing on either end of it. We're going to put in the social distancing issues we have to try to control that. And of course the restaurant will still be takeout only. You can't do any sit down or beverage sit down service at all. And so we're going to work with Sean today and try to figure out what I consider like a golfer's menu that he can turn really quick so that they can grab like a brown bag and, hit the links. So, and there's some other things like you can't have any garbage cans out on the course. That's going to be a struggle.
Why?
Well, it just inherently, when you got 150 acres where people are running around and they've got paper sacks, they've got, wrappings for say like a hamburger,
okay.
They've got, bottles of or plastic bottles or aluminum cans. Some of those are going to get lost. And so we're going to discuss how we're going to take care of the cleanup on a daily basis.
I noticed the governor in that last update he gave, he was asking people that are going out into the woods and that kind of stuff is to pack everything with you.
Yeah.
Everything you take in, you bring out. Don't be leaving anything behind that could be contaminated.
Right, and that's the theory I believe behind that. And so, we're going to create a full-time job as a custodian because, that's generally speaking a part-time job, and because of the heightened awareness of what we have to do as far as sanitizing and cleaning things. And so that job description, I'll have that done by the time we have the meeting this afternoon. And so we're looking for somebody to fulfill that. So it'll be a continuous cleaning process throughout the day. And to give you an idea of what that entails, not only do you have the clubhouse, but you've got 5 different restrooms out on the course that need to be taken care of, along with a couple of Santa cans. And so what we normally would do first thing in the morning and the end of the day, I think it's going to be just a continuous job throughout the entire day. So.
Now, do you anticipate having a hard time finding somebody that wants to do that?
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of people out there that are unemployed, but then, we've already gotten a little bit of feedback that unemployed people with the additional $600 are really questioning whether they want to come back to work. And I disagree with that. And there's some things the state is requiring if people refuse to do that. But it's a tough call. I mean, if you think about it, if you're unemployed and you're collecting $2,400 a month on top of whatever unemployment you're getting, especially in Washington where the minimum wage is $13.50 an hour, that's a fairly substantial cut in income.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It may be a little bit of a challenge.
I know my kiddo said she makes more being unemployed, being laid off than she did when she was working. That usually doesn't happen. Unemployment's there to kind of help, but not give you enough so you go out and get another job.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a struggle. It's really starting to surface. And the reason, from what I understand, that the CARES Act did it that way is just to simplify the process. Having a flat dollar amount, I think, is a good idea. But the problem is from state to state, the unemployment laws and how much they pay are so dramatically different, and not to mention the minimum wage. And
a lot of people are complaining about that, saying it was too much. But if you think about it, if you or let's say you were in a family or you're a couple with kids, and one of you doesn't have the hours to even get unemployment, because you work part-time or you didn't work the last quarter. You could have been sitting in a situation where you're trying to feed you're going through this, you're in lockdown, you're at home, and you're trying to do it all on $350 a week. You know, which would have been impossible for people. The food banks and everything would have been overrun with demand and stuff. So I think it kind of, they really gave you more money than you can spend staying at home.
Well, it's I don't know. We could debate that all day, but it is what it is, and I hate that term, but it is what it is. And so we're just going to have to raise up to the challenge and figure out how to make it happen.
I always come and circle around, and I realize the repercussions of everything, but I toss out the kind of unseriously is, you know what? It's all invisible anyways. It's paper. They can make as much as they want.
Yeah, that's true. And they're starting to realize that. So based on some of the stuff I read, that's going to be a huge concern. If you just start printing money, inflation's going to take over at some point, and it's going to be horrendous.
Yeah.
And right now we're protected to some degree just because of the recessionary environment. And the prices are actually going the other direction. But that's a moment in time.
Give it time and it's going to flip-flop on us is what you're saying?
That's right. Exactly.
All right. Let's see. We should probably roll out some weather this morning, let people know what's going on. We might have figured that out by themselves, but we are expecting some rain today. 40% chance, I like to say, because of allergies, bring it on.
I agree.
72 for a high today, drop down to 49 tonight. Going to be the warmest night of the year so far at 49 degrees. Wow.
Boy. Nice night to sit outside and have a beverage of choice.
That's right. Thursday, mostly cloudy, 67 and 40. Then Friday, a partly cloudy day. In fact, the first couple, as we head into the weekend, partly cloudy Friday, 66. Partly cloudy Saturday, 68. And right now they're saying flip-flop on Sunday, showers, and 58. So.
Yeah, but I think that's great. We need the rain to begin
definitely
with. And then on top of that, it's a warmer rain. So, when you have a low in the high 40s, that's really pretty pleasant if you think about it. And then you're right, it cleans the air.
It does.
The other day I hopped in my truck and had to run down and get some essential services type things. And that yellow dust that accumulates?
Yeah, I know it.
It was all over my windshield. So
already?
Yep. And for those of us that do have allergies, I can walk out of the house and within 15 minutes, I'm stuffed up, my eyes water. Blah, blah, blah.
I've been so consistently sick this spring because of the dry weather. I haven't been able to even tell what's what. But what I did notice was more of a transition with the wind yesterday to where I was like breaking out with hives in my exposed arms. Or anywhere that can get sweaty, like the crease of your, the inside of your elbow. I'll get hives right there. And I noticed and the pine pollen is kind of like acid on my skin. My skin will actually get raw. I've got this really bad sunburn. And I could notice that I was in the creases in my face yesterday because I'd gotten a little sweaty. I could feel the pine pollen burn. It's like acid on my skin. I'm so allergic to it. And I'm just like, oh no. Actually,
and this is the guy that lives in the mountains.
Yes, and I had a really bad bout here last month. I mean, in the past 6 weeks since we went into lockdown, I don't think I've had the coronavirus, but I've had every symptom of it. My allergies have been so bad.
Right.
I mean, and couple times, just being honest, we're actually I was thinking I was maybe having a near-death experience. I was so freaked out about it and panicked and having a hard time breathing. I've actually been looking into and I'm gathering stuff. And with this Zoom and what we've been through with the lockdown, I might leave town. I'll keep doing the show because I can do it. I can do it from the moon now. But
you just need a good internet connection, right?
I'm seriously thinking. In fact, I've been hunting online looking for a monthly rental somewhere in Central Washington. I need to be in the and this happened to me when I was a kid. It got really bad, and my parents actually moved from North Dakota to the Tri-Cities. And that area, because a doctor told them that arid climate would really be helpful for asthma and allergies. So they started looking into it. And I talked to a doctor and he said, this sounds like a good idea. So if the pine pollen now, if we can stay in a pattern where it's a couple dry days and then a wet day, couple dry days and a wet day, it keeps it really beat down and I can make it through. But when we get into one of those weak periods where it's week long with no rain, I almost get to the point of anaphylactic shock.
Okay.
So I'm ready. I'm looking for a monthly rental in Central Washington right now.
Without the dust storms, though, right?
I don't care. I'll take that. It's much better than pine pollen. You can blow as much sand in your face as you want. I lived in the Tri-Cities for a while, and actually, with my allergies and stuff, best I ever been in my entire life was the Tri-Cities because all there is sand.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, really. All right. There we go. Enough allergies. I think I made everybody itch now.
So I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
The last week you were going to do a telemedicine call.
With my doctor, yes.
With your doctor. How did that go? Not that I need the results, but how did they all...
Yeah, you're breaking my HIPAA policy.
I was just curious how the whole process went.
It was super smooth using Zoom. You know,
really?
It was super smooth. I've actually had 2 now. You know, I imagine for him, because I had this really bad rash, and I imagine that's a little hard to see on the webcam because he's closer to the camera, you know. But it was slick. I would like to do, unless there's something they really need to touch you for or be able to see really good. I would do every doctor's appointment like that.
Right.
That was so cool. I mean, there might be some people worried about privacy and stuff, but.
Yeah. Well, you're the first person I've talked to that's ever done it, so I was just curious.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Good.
Kind of weird disrobing in front of a camera. No, I'm just kidding.
So now you just gave me a vision of on Zoom, people can hack it. The background as you disrobe.
Oh. Nobody wants to see that. Hey, I did have a joke come to me last night. Thinking about our show today, and I came up with one, and Corona masks that didn't work. Okay. Tried this one last night. Plastic bag. Luckily, the plastic bag had a hole in it.
Right.
Either way, a Safeway bag with or without a hole does not make a good Corona mask. All right. Loretta's curtains. Mike tried that. Another one Mike also tried, an old golf bag. One I didn't work for me, the fishbowl and the snorkel.
Okay, all right.
You can picture me walking around with that one, right?
I was going to say, I could just see you with a fishbowl over your head and a tube coming out the bottom.
Beer goggles, always fun, but do not protect you from the coronavirus.
Right.
And then this one I came up, I'm not sure if you like it or not. It is the brand new, you can order these online, Trump Clorox misting helmet. It's a Trump helmet that'll mist you with Clorox. It comes with side blinders and a sleepy time visor. All right. And then my last one, Corona mask that didn't work, a pair of Mike's old underwear.
Yeah, they have too many holes in them, right?
You like that Safeway bag?
That's right.
I just want you to know I worked hard on those last night.
Okay. All right. Well, you need to work a little harder.
Oh, ow, ow. Where's that rim shot when I need it? Ow. Here, one back at you.
Hey!
Okay.
Shut up!
All right. You ready for some bits and breaks, or you have anything else you want to share this morning?
Well, I got a couple updates.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if you want to do those now or you want to wait.
Roll them out of there. Roll them out.
All right. Well, some really good news. The Creative District was approved in the state of Washington, so we're incorporated. We have all our numbers, and we're real, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Now, is that like 501c kind of real, or
right?
you? Okay.
Well, the way the process works is the articles of incorporation have to be accepted by the state of Washington. Then you have to reserve the name. And then once you get those two things happen simultaneously, then it gives you a UBI number, which KCHW would have. And then at that point, you apply for your 501c3, which we've done.
Okay.
That's a process. So, you're able to use, because of the size, we're able to use what they call a 501c3 EZ. which literally was only 2 pages. And since we had all the information from the state, then that process went in last week, and I don't know what the IRS timetable is, but at this point, we're just waiting for an IRS determination letter. Right. And another thing that popped up that I think a lot of people, I'd never heard of it before, it's called the DUNS number. It's by Dun and Bradstreet, and it's a number that's pretty much required by most grant organizations anymore because they had some people scamming. And so what Dun and Bradstreet does is they check the validity and certify that this is a real organization. So, and I don't know if the KCHW has one or not.
I do not. We do not have a DUNS number, but one of the grants that I had gotten sent to you from you or somebody else that I went and looked at was Arts and Humanities grant, and that was the one I did see that did require a DUNS number, and there was a lot of stuff in that one didn't really apply for us, so I kind of skipped going through all those hurdles. I've never, we've only ever got one big grant. We've got a few little ones, but the one for the tower, that was out of a foundation in Spokane. It was $30,000, and they weren't tracking it like that.
Yeah, well, I would recommend you do it because we had a conference call last week with the Arts Commission, and that actually came up because pretty much anything coming out of the state of Washington anymore that's grant-oriented is going to require that. Okay. And the reason for it is they just had some problems with people scamming them. I mean, basically, it's what it ends up being. And it's relatively easy to do. I mean, you go in and just look up DUNS or Dun and Bradstreet DUNS, and it took me, 5 minutes.
And it's free.
And it's free. I mean, they're going to try selling you credit reports and everything else, but you don't need to do that. And I got it back within, a day. And so, and they're just going to ask for things like, what's your UBI number, and some of the financial issues as far as the radio station is concerned. But I would recommend you do that, Scott.
All right.
It's kind of one of those things I think it's going to be required.
It's going to come around at some point where I'm going to have to anyway, so I might as well have it in my pocket, right?
Well, and a lot of these grants, because, as I mentioned last week, I joined a Grant Watch organization. And as I'm going through it, I like if I put in KCHW, if I put in nonprofit radios, a lot of these grants pop up, and you look through it, and if you don't have it, by the time you get it and get back there, it's a good possibility those grants are gone. Especially the grants that are really structured for immediacy that are related to the COVID-19 crisis, because there's a whole lot of people hunting for money, and so I would get that done right away. The other good news we got last week is it looks like sometime around July 1st, the Washington Art Commission is going to award the Creative District $24,500.
Nice.
And we have and that's designed for a variety of projects. And so the struggle we had was it was matching dollars, but they allowed us to make a counter proposal where the 100% matching dollars, we hopefully will be able to do something less. 50% or match, things like that. And this was applied for quite a while ago, actually. We were part of a group that joined and went to the legislature, and of course they asked for X number of dollars, and the legislature gave quite a bit less, but I have to give the Arts Commission credit because they divvied it up basically equally among all of the potential or close creative districts and those that are already certified. So that was really good news. So in the next couple of weeks, we've been asked to put a solid bid together, I guess, on some items that we had put in the original grant. And we're going to probably lean towards signage, parking issues, things that'll help the downtown area and the arts organizations and the creative organizations all at the same time.
Nice.
So that was really, really good news, especially in today's world. You just don't know what's going to come out of the governor's office because, they're being stretched so many different directions.
So I applied for tons of grants for the radio station and stuff. I didn't get anything. Have you? And I was really disappointed about the Small Business Administration because it really seemed like that was going to help out small businesses. Then we seen all this stuff on the news where, like a restaurant chain gets $20 million. Right. Do you happen to know anyone in our area that got an SBA grant? They called it.
I do.
Oh, you do. Okay.
Yeah, no, well, I don't know about a grant, but I know businesses, that the golf course being one of them, that got the PPP loan program.
The pay, other than the payroll, so they had the $10,000, what they were calling a loan advance, which was a grant that certain, like for a nonprofit group, you wouldn't have had to pay it back.
Right.
So I applied, and I don't know how much money they threw into that particular one, but I applied for that, and during the first round, when they released the money, and didn't get anything. And now the second round was supposed to get refunded. They weren't taking new applications, but if you're on the list, you're in there. We got nothing from that either. So I was just curious if you knew anybody that got the $10,000 grants.
No, I haven't heard anybody that's gotten that, actually. And I know the chamber applied for the 10,000, but unless you already got the 10,000, you're not going to get that. Because what they did is they changed the program where it's only $1,000 per employee, which, the chamber has one, but KCHW is all volunteers. So I doubt if you're going to see it. And that's even a struggle on the chamber side or the creative side. And that's a Chihuahua issue, because so much is done from a volunteer basis. I mean, a lot is done from a volunteer basis that normally would be done by employees, that, in my opinion, you get highly discriminated against. And it's just like I was having a conversation with one of the other creative district partners yesterday on grants, because I've been going in looking for grants, and I use the creative district as an example. The last time I checked, there were 31 grants of a variety of different things available in Washington. 29 of those 31 were only for Western Washington, and primarily 3 counties. And so Eastern Washington really gets left out. And I think, and even Spokane, the one they had listed, restricted it to Spokane County. And I'm hoping, and I truly believe the powers in charge are starting to recognize that, and they're recognizing something that people in Chihuahua and the surrounding area have known for a long, long time, is rural areas really are, in my opinion, treated as second-class citizens.
We are. When I look at all the money that's given to businesses and everything, and I see our local little radio station taking a hit, and I go out and apply for it too, and you get rejected, you're kind of like, well, why? Because we don't have employees? Because this, basically the radio station is a public utility that is not funded by taxes.
Well, and some public radio stations have employees, but they're larger, and they've got better funding, and I mean, you can go on and on and on. You wouldn't exist if you didn't have volunteers. The chamber wouldn't exist if they didn't have volunteers. PACA wouldn't exist unless they had volunteers. Right. And that's the message that maybe we haven't done a good enough job telling people about that. I don't know, but I'm definitely beating that drum more as I talk to people, and even on some of the applications where if they allow you to put comments in there, what I do is I give them an idea of the total number of volunteers and volunteer hours. But also I've been told, and we're not very good at this, and I'm sure you're not, is to track the number of volunteer hours. Because somebody told me that the conversion of hours on volunteer or in-kind services is like $28 an hour. And even if it's $20 an hour, think of the thousands of dollars worth of help you get that you don't have to pay for.
Oh yeah, and it's real easy for me to track because everybody follows a schedule. So it's, unless we're doing an event, it's the same every week. And when I got the grant for the mountaintop tower and the big transmitter and stuff, that was a big part of it. Is they weren't asking for any matching funds, but they're looking for a track record of success, and that was part of it too. Is being able to show that I have these 14 volunteers that put in X amount of hours every week. And right. And if you guys are listening, I miss you all. I can't wait till you can come back. I felt like I had a special guest in the studio yesterday during the middle of the show. It was my cat. It's like, oh, the cat came in the studio. Yay.
Well, did you talk to the cat and the cat talked back?
Yeah, always. Yeah. The thing that's really the thing I looked around the other day is, when nobody's coming in the building, nothing's going on, you tend to let stuff fly around, and it's really messy here. Somehow I managed in 6 weeks to totally mess up 2,500 square feet that I now have to clean.
Right. Well, I was actually thinking this morning, that we're getting this virtual office thing down, or studio down pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
As much, and I'm thinking, man, this is a lot easier for me.
Mm-hmm. It is.
But you also miss that human interaction. I mean,
right.
Even though we can see each other, and and I think, well, I know just visiting with a couple of different people that their business is basically being run through Zoom right now. They appreciate the efficiency. But what they lose is the ability to read people, and both of these involve mediation type issues. It's and like my son's one of them. Like he told me yesterday, he said, he says, I can't leave the room.
Something's always going on, huh?
Yeah, that's a negotiation ploy, of course. But even he said, even if they say, well, go to your corner, and you're dealing with the people you deal with, he says, how do you know they're not looking in?
Exactly.
So, but I think it's going to create a tremendous amount of efficiencies. I mean, I'm looking at the creative district. Our next meeting or 2 meetings will be on Zoom because we obviously can't get together. The meeting I'm having at the golf course today, we're not doing it on Zoom, but we're going to use the dining room, and we'll be basically hollering at each other across these tables. But it's going to open up a whole new way of doing business.
Well, and working from home too, there's going to be so many companies that have went through this. Hey, we can save money and keep doing some of this in certain,
visiting
situations.
with my son yesterday, his boss basically is really still struggling with people working at home. And because it's that mentality, if they're here, they're working, I can see that. Mm-hmm. And JC said yesterday that, he gets more done in 3 to 4 hours at home than he would at 8 hours in the office because of all the distractions.
Interruptions, visiting with people. I mean, a lot of times, a lot of your day just can get taken up in a big work environment, especially if there's with just casual talk and interruptions.
Right. And he's got the same thing at home because, his wife's got to work from home, and then he's got a 2-year-old that's there because, the daycare is closed down. And so there's some struggles that way, but they're working it out. And like he said, there are certain things where he just needs to concentrate. So he can still go into the office, but nobody's there. So there again, he gets a tremendous amount done because of all the distractions that would happen. And so I think there's going to be a huge change. I mean, I'm fortunate enough that, most of my life I worked from home or on the road. So it's not that big of a change for me. The change for me is what we're doing right now. The Zoom type thing, because it just flat didn't exist 10 years ago.
I'm really impressed with the Zoom platform. So it was a couple years ago when my sister used to be on the morning show with me and Jean, and she would be on every day, and we tried about every kind of platform for this type of stuff that's out there, and none of it worked smoothly. There was such a long delay. If I wanted to wait for your response, I'd ask you a question, and there could be a full second or two before your response would come back, like watching it on a satellite feed from off of our continent or something on TV. It just There was a delay. But Zoom, I'm so impressed with how smooth it is, and our big beast of a computer that I always brag about in here that someday is going to die because it's getting really old. But I was telling Mike on the phone, I'm totally impressed with this. We're running a live video and audio feed to KCHW.org. We're running a live audio feed to and video feed to YouTube. I'm running a live audio feed to the Tower site. This is all off one computer. I'm running a video switcher with multiple cameras. I'm running a YouTube interface. I'm running a a Zoom meeting, and I'm also running an AnyDesk app that lets me run another computer that I might need to press a button on, all on one PC. And all of that going through the internet, coming out of this building at the same time, that's a lot of bandwidth. So I'm liking the new fiber optics in Chihuahua.
Thank you, Dorothy, because she was a big part of getting
Thank
that
you.
happen.
We couldn't have done this before the new internet that came in without getting anybody a free plug. There's no way I could have accomplished this. I'm running 4 streams off one PC simultaneously with video and audio. It's pretty impressive.
Right. Well, and I'm in my home.
Yeah.
I mean, think of what that would have been like three years ago or 2.5 years ago.
And the fact that we're communicating this through a web platform that's allowing video and audio, and it sounds better than a phone line.
It does, yeah. And like we were talking before we came on air, between the better connection, and then I ended up getting a headset with a microphone on it, so it eliminates the background noise. I mean, we tried the Skype thing a couple of weeks ago, and it just didn't work.
That's right. We were getting hiccups, and I kind of told you that. I've experienced that with every platform, but I'm impressed with the Zoom so far, unless they kick us off when we hit 45 minutes.
Yeah. That's kind of a problem unless you want to pay for it.
Well, it said as long as it's person to person, they wouldn't. But just for our listeners' sake, if in the next few minutes we just disappear, you know why.
Yeah, we'll come back.
We'll be back always. All right, like a bad joke.
That's right. I'll be back.
All right, so with all this Zoom stuff, I've got a great one for you, as we can maybe enter fun and games. You cool with that?
Okay.
All right.
I'm cool with that.
You fixed the hole on the headline. Man resigns from commission after drinking beer and throwing blank during Zoom meeting.
Underwear.
No. Did you see this? It was a real story yesterday.
Really?
He actually had to resign.
Oh, he threw like a cat.
He did. He threw a cat.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that story was in Vallejo. Planning Commission member Chris Platzer resigned from his post. In a Zoom meeting back on April 20th, Platzer was seen drinking a beer and throwing his cat through the air. Yep, he's been bored during the lockdown. Some cats like that.
Right.
In an email to a local newspaper, Platzer apologized for his action. He said, "I did not conduct myself in the Zoom meeting in a manner befitting a planning commissioner, and apologize for any harm I may have inflicted to myself or the cat."
So now I have visions of a big map on the board and rezoning, and he's just taking a dart,
yes,
and throwing it at the board and say, "Oh, that's a property line."
Oh, I wish Brandon was here. I got to try to remember to save Brandon Hansen, save this question for him. Which is worse, having to postpone your wedding because of the coronavirus, or having the wedding when you want, but cutting into a moldy wedding cake? And then there's a story of a gal in England who was devastated on the big day after cutting into her wedding cake to find out it had gone moldy. A staff at the venue or the reception saved the day by going out around town to several locations and buying replacement cakes. All right. Another one. Go ahead.
I got one.
Okay.
Did you know there's over 1 million kegs of beer that are becoming stale dated?
Oh, really?
Yeah, and this article said, "What do you do with a bunch of beer?" And you can imagine some of the responses were pretty funny. But basically, the first choice is they dump it back, into the water supply. But they can't do that because they have to lower the pH content. And some of them are doing that. Another choice was some of the breweries are converting it over to ethanol, and then some of the breweries are basically turning it into hand sanitizer. Which are all three things are fine. But what caught my eye in the story, besides the people that say, "Well, donate a keg to me,"
of course,
was because of the lack of being able to drink beer in an establishment, the amount of chicken wings purchased has dropped dramatically.
I bet the chickens are happy.
That's right. So I actually was talking to Loretta, and I said, "So here's that. There is an action and a reaction to everything." So,
wow.
But the price of chicken wings have dropped dramatically. So if you like chicken wings, now's the time to buy.
Yay! Except we're running out of meat, according to Tyson.
That's true.
All right. Great time-saving survey. This is from a website called Real Simple. What if you could come up with one thing to invent, an invention to save time? Maybe you can add it in here, Mike. Tell me what that invention would be. All right. On the list I have here, a clothes folding machine. Seems impossible.
Right.
Too many versions of clothes. I do like the next one, though. It says, you know how you can appear offline on Facebook? I'd like to be able to appear offline in my daily life so I wouldn't be bothered. I'd like that, or maybe in my front door. Somebody knocks on your front door, and a thing pops up that says offline.
It's kind of like I saw mine the other day. We had a mailbox with tape across the front of it. It said, closed due to coronavirus.
So, yeah, somebody sent me a picture of a cat in a window. It said, go away, virus, and they asked me to do that with Mooch. So, all right. Hey, how about this one? A drain in the middle of my house so I could just hose the place down. I've often thought of that. I mean, I did it actually with a vehicle, you know, where you rhino-linered the whole inside of the truck, so when you came home, you could just hose out the truck from playing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I like this one, too. Vacuum that'll pick up large items. Just,
including your cat.
Yeah, I was just going to say, don't give it to that commissioner, though. He's going to pick up a cat with it. A Facebook alarm that goes off when you've been on the site for over 40 minutes. That's a pretty good idea.
Exactly.
All right, you ready for some trivia? I just got a few for you.
Fire away.
All right. Let's see. I wasn't prepared. Theme song. Here we go.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
It's my buddy Mike Bench today.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
All right. First one. I hope Loretta's listening this morning. Is she up?
Yep, she is. I think she's listening, too.
In a survey, men said the number one lie they tell their wives is what?
They don't lie.
Exactly. Oh, wow. Wow, Mike, it's scary that you got that. Wow. Look out, Loretta. Yep, yeah, I would never lie to you is the number one lie guys tell. All right, that's horrible. According to a study, this happens to more than 90% of all large jackpot lottery winners.
They go broke.
Nope.
They buy too much stuff.
You're getting warmer. Think about them personally.
Oh. They get divorced.
Well, it could be a side effect of what happens getting divorced.
Oh, okay. So stress. They drink too much.
Are you ready to give up yet? That's not it in there. You're getting closer, though. It is a physical.
The other side of that is they eat too much.
There you go. They get fat.
Oh,
okay. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for some fatties. Yeah.
You can do it!
All right.
So I'm not, small by any means. So where's my lottery check?
I can't answer that for you.
Oh, okay.
I don't have one either.
So did you read the story about the guy that bought two separate lottery tickets at two separate locations?
No.
And both tickets, the numbers actually matched. So he ended up winning $2 million.
Wow. Two different tickets, How does that happen?
Don't ask me. I'm thinking, okay, I thought all lottery tickets, the numbers should never match, but I guess they could if you handpicked one. Yeah, they could, because if you have the machine pick one, it would be arbitrary. But if you picked your own, then you could theoretically pick the same exact numbers that the machine picked.
Wow.
And so you would split the pot. I mean, what do you think the odds of that would be?
That's crazy kind of odds. I can't even win $5.
Yeah. Well, I'm one of those people that I've played the lottery a couple of times, but I very, very seldom have done that. So my odds are pretty high. So.
All right. A couple more trivia questions. Just 2% of homes don't have one of these tools. So if you went into only 2% of homes in America, would you not be able to find this very common tool? What is it?
A hammer.
No. Second most common tool.
Screwdriver.
There you go.
Whatever your name is, get ready for the big surprise.
All right.
I thought screwdriver was a drink.
It's both. That's the nice thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what kind of.
It's a different tool for a different,
Exactly.
The right tool for the right thing. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. All right. There's a story goes along with that, but I'm going to leave it alone. Three out of 10 married people don't know this about their spouse.
Ooh, man. Know this about their spouse. 3 out of 10.
And I found it very surprising that you would marry someone and not know this about them.
They've been married before.
No. What do most couples fight about?
Money.
Uh-huh.
Oh, their financial situation.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
It's like getting married and finding out that, they're like $50 million in debt.
Yeah. Well, it's surprising the number of people that are married that have no idea what the other spouse is doing about their finances.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah.
Yeah, because, that's what I did for a living. And it just astounded me when you'd sit somebody down with a couple and one half of the couple knew everything and the other one knew nothing and had no desire to know anything. So,
All righty then.
And that's just so foreign to me.
Yeah, well, let's worry about our retirement when we get there, honey.
That's right. And oh, by the way, I've been planning mine without you because I had no input.
Oh, it's all right, honey. I've been gambling mine away.
That's right. Or what credit card debt? Yeah. Oh, it's not only the one, it's the 5 other ones.
Oh, yeah. But it's okay. Those are in your name.
That's right.
All right. Average person will produce 14 pounds of what in their lifetime? I think this one's come up before.
14 pounds.
All right, and let's see. You're going to produce this, 14 pounds of it, and it's above your waistline.
I was going to say sweat.
Unless you wear your pants in the wrong spot, then it might not be above your waistline. If you cinch them up below your man breasts.
Going to produce this spit, saliva.
No, 14 pounds of belly button lint. Always fun.
14 pounds?
In your life, you will produce 14 pounds of belly button lint.
Belly button lint?
It does not apply to Audis.
Well, what's more impressive to me is what government grant gives what researcher the money to go out and pick belly button lint.
Yeah, I got paid to be in that test.
Oh, okay.
All right, last trivia question. Average person. No, sorry, we just did that one. I got lost. Wow.
Okay.
You know what?
Well, what's new?
It's the same question twice.
See if I can get it right this time.
He still gets it wrong.
Hey, I may not be the sharpest tool in the shed, but at least I worked.
All right. I skipped one, but we can go back and just see as we head into the break. Let's see how many he can get. All right.
Okay.
In fact, I'm gonna play a song under you, and we'll start off with that, with a little Supertramp. And I think this song's only got like 15-second intro. So right now, I'm gonna give you 15 seconds to name 9 things people put on pizza. Go. 15 seconds.
Pepperoni, cheese, anchovies, onions, sausage, bacon, spaghetti, marinara sauce.
That's 8. Wow, look at you.
Oh, I need one more?
Yeah, no,
okay.
you did it. You did it.
Hamburger.
You got it.
I did? Okay.
I was right. I said 9. All right.
All right.
You did good, Mike. All right.
Okay.
And
Can
now
you
we
hear
all
my dog in the background?
He heard the word pizza. Pizza.
She's encouraging me to do a better job.
Here we go. It's Supertramp and Goodbye Stranger. We'll be back in just a few minutes. It's KCHW.
It was an early morning yesterday. I was up before the dawn.
Dude, that's as smooth as butter.
It was. I really like this.
That is as smooth as butter. Well, let's do. I got sponsors to pay coming up. And I really need more coffee. So let's do this song, some sponsors, and another song or two, and then we'll come back with birthdays and stuff.
Okay, about 10 minutes then?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And you're just going to leave the Zoom up?
I'm just going to leave it wide open.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Okay.
Like a ship without an anchor, like a slave without a chain. Just a thought of those sweet ladies as they shimmer through my veins. Now we're going shining, shining like brand new. I'll never look behind me, my troubles will be few. Goodbye, stranger, it's been nice. Hope you find a paradise. Tried to see you, point of view. Hope your dreams will all come true. Goodbye, Mary, goodbye, Jane. Will we ever meet again? Feel no sorrow, feel no shame. Don't feel warm, feel no pain. Sweet devotion, it's not for me. Just give me motion, set me free. The land and the ocean, far away. Time I've chosen every day. So goodbye, Mary, goodbye, Jane. Will we ever meet again? Now some they do and some they don't, and some you just can't tell. And some they will and some they won't, and some it's just as well. You can laugh at my behavior, that'll never bother me. Say the devil is my savior, but I don't pay no heed. Now we're going shining, it's shining like brand new. I'll never look behind me, my troubles will be few.
It's 9:06.
Your KCHW morning show made possible by a donation from God-Fearing Brothers Auto Center. God-Fearing Brothers specializes in auto services, including repair, maintenance, and detailing. They also stock tires, provide collision repairs, including glass, and they have an auto sales lot on the corner of Highway 395 and Main Street at the light. For more information, you can visit the Auto Service Center at 806 East Main in Chewelah. Find them online at godfearingbrothers.com or by phone at 509-935-6414. KCHW would like to thank God-Fearing Brothers for supporting public radio with a financial donation during these difficult times, and to let you know that they are considered an essential business and are still offering their services regular business hours.
Hi, I'm Micah Hanks, host of the Micah Hanks program, where every week we go in search of the most unusual things that our world has to offer. From unexplained aerial phenomena and ancient mysteries to the latest in science and technology, on every episode we take you down the rabbit hole with expert interviews from scientists and authors to those who have firsthand experience with the uncanny. Join us every Wednesday at 10 p.m. right here on KCHW 102.7 Northern Lights Public Radio.
KCHW programming made possible through the support of New Health. New Health, here when you need us. In these challenging and uncertain times of COVID-19, if you have questions, concerns, or are experiencing symptoms, call 935-8424 to talk to a care team member. COVID-19 testing is available if indicated at drive-through locations in Colville, Chewelah, and 9 Mile Falls. There is no appointment necessary. Other New Health sites that offer curbside testing are located in Ione, Loon Lake, and Springdale. Telemedicine is also available for medical concerns like coughs, sore throats, allergies, rashes, and minor injuries. Call New Health at 935-8424 or visit newhp.org to find out details of telemedicine, curbside care, and curbside or mail pharmacy. You can also call 935-8424 or visit online at newhp.org to find a clinic close to you.
This is KCHW 102.7.
It's 9:09.
You're listening to Northern Lights Public Radio on 102.7 KCHW, Chewelah, Valley, Deer Park. Programming made possible by donations from the following.
The Valley Drug Company, your local Health Mart pharmacy. Valley Drug offers a complete line of healthcare services and products for their customers. 24-hour prescription refills, vitamins, stop smoking aids, and even Medicare plan reviews. Valley Drug also carries gift and decor items, holiday items, and 2 app-friendly photo printing kiosks. For more information, their number is 509-935-8611. The Valley Drug Company, in downtown Chewelah since 1945.
And by
SETI's Ace Hardware. SETI's carries name brand tools, items for the home, the farm, and the kids. SETI's is located on East Main Street in Chewelah, and they're open Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Sundays from 10 till 2. Ace, the helpful place.
This is KCHW 102.7 FM.
In the lonely hour, oh.
you still with me?
Hey, I'm with you.
All right.
So, well, we were gone. Is the YouTube still running so they can still see everything?
Yes. I hope you didn't do anything inappropriate.
No, I left. I was just curious about that. So.
And when we talk off mic or off air before we go live, it does go on YouTube.
Oh, it does.
Hi, everybody. We're getting ready to go back on the air.
We're back.
All right. We're all coffeeed up. So let's do local birthdays, and then you do celebrity birthdays. It happened today, and special events, and then we'll save the news attack for odd news, and we'll go down to news and nuggets.
Okay. So we'll flip flop. I'll do birthdays, special days, or it happened today. You'll do, and then I'll do the special events. Is that the way you want to do that? Okay.
Yeah. And then we'll just go back and forth on the news stories.
Okay.
All right. All right. And 50 seconds.
Okay.
It's the big KCHW 102.7 serving Stevens County right there with Conrad Sewell. And hold me up, you've got Scott Allen and Mr. Mike Bentz live from his home office atop the golf course.
Yeah, with improved technology.
Improved technology.
Working pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, you catch us this morning. We're online on YouTube and on the website. And, of course, we got our audio feeds going, too, for those internet listeners. Let's see. As a friend said, use the word terrestrial more. Terrestrial broadcasting. You know, it's kind of sad, but that terrestrial broadcasting is probably starting to become one of the least used. Well,
so we could add the tagline from here to eternity.
That's right. We like to do our local birthdays for this break for the city of Chihuahua, and these come from our Lions Club calendar. Avery Thomason having a birthday today. Phil Lopez and Tyson Shalak, all with birthdays. So congratulations going out to them. We usually say if you see them around town, point and laugh, but you're going to have to do it on Facebook.
You know, I'm probably going to see Phil later today.
Are you really?
I'll have the opportunity to point and laugh and say, "Hey,
we were talking about you on the radio."
Right. That's right. Did you hear that?
All right. I hope he's listening.
You are now infamous.
All right, celebrity birthdays.
Hey, I like the celebrity birthdays today. They're all old enough that I remember who they are.
Nice.
So the first one is the king of Porsches.
Yes.
Jerry Seinfeld. He's 66.
Do you watch comedians in cars having coffee?
No, I don't. But actually, I've seen it once. I thought it was pretty funny. And you know, it's been a long time. Is it still on?
It is. It is. It's like in its 5th or 6th season. And, you know,
really?
it's fun to learn about the comedians. And some of them can be pretty entertaining. But what I really dig is the cars that they're driving.
Okay. I'll have to see I'll see if I can find that. So
he gets a different car, a different cool car from somebody every show. They're not all his or something like that, like like Jay Leno. But he does get a different cool car every time to drive around.
Okay, I'll have to go look for that. Okay.
All right.
And then we have Kate Mulgrew. And I remember from Star Trek: The Voyager. You know, I've never watched Orange is the New Black. But she is 65.
Wow. She was the worst captain of a starship ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was like...
That's right. You're a Trekkie.
Yeah,
so.
It was. It was like if you had a starship that was ran by an old school marm. And it just, I remember, you know, one of me and my Trekkie friends, they had a cliffhanger one year where she actually died in the series, you know, and it was the cliffhanger where they make it appear that and we were so wishing they wouldn't bring her back. We were hoping her contract had expired or something.
That they brought her back?
Yeah, we're trying to pick other people from the cast that would be a better captain.
Okay, what about Scotty?
All right, well, long story, not a fan. Okay.
Okay, and then next we have one of the most underrated highly acclaimed actors, in my opinion. Daniel Day-Lewis is 63.
And I think the one he got probably the most kudos for is his portrayal of Lincoln, right?
Right. Well, and I actually liked not only that, but The Last of the Mohicans.
There you go.
One of his first
Yes,
ones, you know.
Yes.
Very, very, very good. And then we have your old girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer, that's 62.
Yes. And do you know what Pfeiffer means?
I have no idea.
Pfeiffer is German. And,
okay.
And you hit it with the P really hard. Pfeiffer. And Pfeiffer is a horse.
Well, your ex-girlfriend.
Oops.
Okay, and this is one that I can't remember, but Eve Plum from the Brady Bunch is 62.
And Eve was the middle girl, Marcia.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Now I know who it is.
All right.
Okay. Well, you are the king of trivia.
Yeah. Way too much television when I was a kid.
Okay.
This is my babysitter.
And then the last one is Uma Thurman.
Uma
who is
Thurman.
50.
Oh, man. She's got the best toes. In Kill Bill, when she can't feel her legs and her toes come back to life, those toes creep me out. And so I mean she's got the best toes in a bad way. In
a bad way.
Yeah,
Okay.
She had Corona toe before it was a thing.
Leave it to Scott to be fixated on toes.
In a creepy way.
In a creepy way.
Right.
Okay.
All right. I'd like to call it history. It happened today, and it is the 29th of April, believe it or not. Wow.
Oh, April's almost over.
Is this like week 6 of lockdown? I've lost count.
It is. I was just thinking that it is week 6. So.
All right. Back to 1913, we travel today. It's Gideon Sunbach of Hoboken, New Jersey. He received a patent for the zipper. The zipper.
And things have been going up and down ever since.
That's right. And another word in German, zipper, Hosenschlitz.
Really?
Yeah, Hose is pants. So,
okay.
There you go. 1967, after refusing induction into the United States Army the day before, citing religious reasons, Muhammad Ali was stripped of his boxing titles. 1967.
67. Ooh. Okay, and I don't know what to say about that one. I think overall he was a pretty quality guy.
Yeah, he was. I've got to see some interesting stuff on him. Pretty impressive. All right, 1988, Burt Reynolds and Lonnie Anderson married in Florida. It was a big deal. They divorced in 93. 1990, surgeons in Jacksonville, Florida removed a benign tumor from the abdomen of a 47-year-old woman who went into the emergency room fearing she was having a heart attack. Turned out the tumor was in the way of her heart, and it was 65 pounds.
Jeez.
That's like 8 kids to you and me.
That's right.
That's one of those times where you go, wow, I feel so much better.
Right, exactly.
All right, a wrecking crane began tearing down the Berlin Wall at the historic Brandenburg Gate on this date in 1990. The wall had divided East and West Berlin since 1961. And what did President Reagan say? The famous quote. And I don't know why he directed it to him, but it was directed to Gorbachev. He said, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall."
Oh,
and I remember the quote. I don't know why. Here we go. 2004, Oldsmobile built its final car, ending 107 years of production. 2004.
2004.
Yes.
Wow.
And here's the question I always had with that. They killed Pontiac and Buick, Oldsmobile, but they kept Buick?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they looked at their demographics. I mean, think of who the people that drive Buicks
are all dying.
Stereotype.
Are all dying. It's a dead end car company. I'm sorry. Young people, anybody under 60 will never buy a Buick unless it's like used and it was really cheap.
Well, they are trying to reinvent themselves.
They're the ugliest cars ever made.
Well, I'm not going to debate style. I'm just saying they're trying to reinvent themselves.
My dad was a Buick man. We always had a big old boat of a Buick in the driveway. Always.
Yeah, my dad was a Cadillac guy. Yeah. I mean, he had Cadillacs ever since I can remember. In fact, the only time he bought a Pontiac was one of those big old honking station wagons that were built in 58 or 59. And, it sat like 19 kids and, the seats faced backwards in the back and
nice.
That type of thing. And I think he only had it like 6 months and got rid of it.
Well, Pontiac's ultimate failure was their paint. So it's a GM vehicle, but why do Pontiac vehicles always peel like bananas?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, it never made sense. It's like they used a totally different painting system for their cars than the rest of GM. Because you can spot a Pontiac. My Firebird's doing it right now. All the clear coat's bubbling off it.
Right. Yeah.
And you don't see that in other cars as much. Buick sometimes.
So we're going to save the car line that has the least amount of peeling paint.
That's right.
Okay.
All right, 2014 cast was announced for the next film in the Star Wars series, due out in 2015. Whoa, woohoo, I can't believe that's in history. And then 2015 again, Baltimore Orioles beat the Chicago White Sox 8-2 in a game that was attended by no one. Fans were told to stay home as the city of Baltimore tried to keep everyone safe in the wake of an ongoing race-related looting, fights, and fires. That was 2015.
2015. Ooh.
All right.
Well, let's go on to special events.
All right.
Okay, the first one is Shrimp Scampi Day.
It's funny, it was Shrimp Scampi Day yesterday, too.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It's so good, they had to have 2 days.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And I can tell you, to put a plug in for the Rusty Putter, Sean does a great shrimp scampi.
Okay.
So, all right. And the next one is Dance Day. And I saw you earlier on YouTube dancing into your seat. There he goes, Mr. Saturday Night Fever.
All right. Now let's see. Show me a move there on the webcam, Mike. Come on. La cucaracha.
That's my hula move.
Yeah, it's like a cucaracha.
Remember the Macarena?
Oh, yeah. I never, that's one thing that I've always been vehemently opposed to in my life, line dancing.
Line dancing?
Yes.
I've only tried that once, and of all places, it was in, what's the place in Fort Worth? Gillies.
Oh, Mickey Gillies.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mickey Gillies, yeah. And this bar is so big that it literally has, I think, 9 bars inside and a bull riding ring.
I was going to say, do they still have the bowl in there?
Yeah, they did when we weren't there back in, I don't know, probably 2000.
And what was the name of the movie that spent about a third of the footage inside that bar for the action scenes?
Give me a minute. It's got John Travolta and Deborah Winger and
Urban
Cowboy.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. The next we have Guide Dogs Day.
Oh, I've got a guide cat.
Do you have a guide cat?
I got guide cat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I have a herding dog. So when my dog wants me to do something, she starts herding me.
Nice.
To where it needs to be.
Exactly.
And then we have, appropriately, based on history, Zipper Day. And then the next one is Stop Food Waste Day.
And probably not so much of a problem right now. I think we're eating everything in our fridge.
That's true. Although I did read an article the other day that they're trying to figure out how to get food that's not being distributed from the field to the food banks and Northwest Harvest and things like that, because there is a fair amount of spoilage between the two.
Yeah.
And I think they can get that figured out. I mean, it's a distribution issue, obviously, but that's a huge opportunity in today's world.
Yeah, we shouldn't be scuttling food and animals because of this when people need it.
Right. Exactly. No. Absolutely. So.
All right.
But it's like anything. There's so many systems and regulatory issues in place that you got to figure out how to circumvent those or change them to make it happen.
Totally.
And you got to make, one of the things I've learned over the last 6 weeks is you've got to be in a position to make decisions relatively quickly, because the dynamics change so fast that, I'll do the PPP loan as a good example. I immediately got after that. And we were approved within 4 days, but that has nothing to do with other than staying on top of it and getting an approval to go forward with it from the board, and then making a decision kind of on the fly. And there's a lot of that happening right now.
There is. I mean, mayors, governors, most of them have gotten, special powers and that kind of stuff. So.
Well, and even on the opening of the golf course, one of the first taglines says that these guidelines will be reviewed on a weekly basis. So what we put in play May 5th may change by May 12th.
Well, and that's what he said about the parks and going into the parks and stuff too. If numbers go up, I'm gonna close them back down. So
exactly.
So and it's asking. Just what they're giving is people are getting frustrated, and we're going to have an opportunity to see if we can do this and kind of pay attention to the rules that are in place to help us. And I know still, and me and Val covered it pretty good, so I won't get into it. But still, in Stevens County, there's a lot of I'd say denial about what's going on, whether you could actually be sick or not. I've had people violate my personal space repeatedly.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see how it goes, and I hope it goes well.
Right, I do too. I mean, I don't think you'll ever get 100% of the people agree to do it, but the bigger the percentage that you do the social distancing, and you do those things that are asked, the simple things like wear a mask when you're around other people, those will make differences down the road, regardless of what people say.
And I understand it feels stupid when you're going, well, there's only one person in Ferry County that has it, and okay, there's 9, and there's been a 9 in Stevens County. The odds of me getting it aren't very good, so I'm not going to worry about it. I understand that, but if we all pay attention, it's going to go much faster.
Right, and I do believe in the controlled opening. If nothing else, if you opened everything tomorrow, the system would be so overran that it would fall in on itself. Yeah. So the controlled opening is really the right route to go.
Yep, and then we all do the positive vibe things and hope for the best. I mean, I'm looking. One of our things, the way we help our income for our little nonprofit is doing the little concerts. And I got this cool studio and a bunch of ideas, and we want to try some like newlywed game type stuff, and it's just it's just kind of depressing when you look at your little theater and go, wow, how long does it be until I can actually put people in here?
Right.
Safely.
And you just don't know.
Yeah.
Safely. Yeah. You just, and I don't think there's going to be a magic switch at any point in time. I think it's going to still have to be an educated guess. And I think I do agree with the idea that you need to follow the numbers, and because I've always believed in the law of large averages.
Yeah.
The more things that go a direction on whatever the number is, the more likely it's going to happen. So, it's just going to be a tough call. I mean, next time we take a break, I'll tell you a little personal story on that and give you an idea of whether you want to air that or not. So, okay.
All right. Number for the day kind of leads us right there. It's 500,000, and that's the number of people who compete or will complete a full marathon in the U.S. each year, except this year.
And I will guarantee you, I'm not one of those numbers.
You're not one of those completed a full marathon in your car after it was over with.
That's right. Me completing a full marathon is watching the start and watching the finish and going have a cool beverage in between.
Nice. Let's skip into news and nuggets. We've got a few news stories for today. First one that's up there, I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there. It was YouTube launching a fact-checking feature, and Facebook is doing this too, and it's about time with all the fake Facebook news that's come out of that website. And I've gotten reports, even my sister said she posted something really benign, but some of it had some facts in it that she had gotten from somewhere else, and Facebook just took her post down.
Okay, I agree with that, but on the other hand, I think there's a trust issue that still needs to be crossed, because it's a really, really easy way to change the message, and so I mean I've always been a big believer in free speech, and I've also been a big believer in if it's too good to be true, it probably is. And so I think it needs to be done, but I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure I'm going to jump on that bandwagon at this point.
You kind of put you out because are they, stifling the truth? And
I don't know that much about YouTube, but Facebook definitely has had some issues in the past where their messaging leans towards what they want you to hear, not necessarily what needs to be heard.
So who's the person making the choice of what gets through and what doesn't?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's a fine line, and I know there's a lot of passion one way or the other on that. But I still think one of the things that makes us unique in the world is the ability to speak our mind, as long as we do it professionally and for the right reasons.
Now you kind of talked about, well, you've got this internal thing where if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. But when it comes to conspiracy theories, there's a lot of people that don't have that ability.
Yeah, I know.
You know that they go the more ridiculous, the more believable it almost becomes.
Right. Yeah, and I understand that. And those people have always been there, by the way.
Really?
It's just that today they're more visible because the technology allows that visibility.
I had no idea there was so many above 50 men that had hermetitis that, crawl off into the woods by themselves and obsess over conspiracy theories. It's actually kind of sad. I know so many people around here that have that problem. And I think it's, and it's not going to be any easier right now, but I think it's a lack of connection with the last of the side of the people that I think to be most in the conspiracy theory area, and I get a lot of them just from my position, and I might irritate a few of them that are listening, but they tend to be guys over 50 that are solo.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to get into that because I'm not one of those people, but I think overall, people look for something they can grab onto.
Yeah.
It creates an identity, and once you create that identity, you got to figure out how to support it. So.
Something that could go hand in hand with conspiracy theories, our next story.
Somehow or another, this doesn't surprise me. 3 in 10 marijuana users are smoking more.
Not surprised.
With many Americans regularly using marijuana to help reduce anxiety and anxiety, treat a medical condition, or simply wind down, have their habits changed during the pandemic? Of course.
Yep.
A survey conducted by the AmericanMarijuana.org asked 1,017 American cannabis users, why 1,017?
Seems like an odd number for odd people.
Okay. Their attitudes on using the drug in the midst of the pandemic. About 3 in 10, 29% participants are smoking more weed than normal during the pandemic, and 27% are smoking less.
So that's about 50-50.
About 50-50, yeah.
All right.
About 6% have quit smoking pot altogether because of the pandemic.
Huh.
Yeah, that's probably because they don't have the money. Anyway, we're guessing those who are smoking less have quit. Did so because of the reduced or lost paycheck.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't have a food bank for that.
Yeah, and then I think last week we talked about the alcohol purchases have gone up dramatically. So they're both drugs, and so effectively, don't pick on one. I think I read that alcohol sales are up like 270%.
Wow.
And that's with the bars being closed. That's just packaged liquor or packaged wine and beer. Online alcohol sales are up dramatically. And that's because people, if they're following the stay at home, need to get it somehow. It's a huge number.
I wonder how, if we're going to have a big thing of, I imagine that'll be some of the hardest hit businesses that might not be able to reopen would be bars.
It is. In fact, a lot of the news traffic you read nowadays, the last one I read was in San Francisco and how it's being affected in San Francisco, and they were already struggling to begin with. And this guy that they interviewed that owns a couple of restaurants said that they were struggling because alcohol sales are down, because there is a pretty big movement in today's world where people are moving towards non-alcoholic beverages.
Well,
and then
for years we've been moving. For years, though, we've been moving. For over a decade too. I used to DJ in clubs. We've been moving away this thing where we go out to bars because of the drinking and driving laws and the danger there.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
gotta
take
hurt
back
business
20
too.
years versus your attitude today. It's dramatic.
Yeah.
And then the other thing he talked about was just the pure cost of doing business. When you've got a business model that has really, really low margins anyway, and you start increasing your labor costs dramatically, which in turn will increase your cost of goods sold, your product dramatically. Then if you don't have the ability to raise your prices, then you get squeezed. And so that whole industry has been struggling for a while. And I think this is just going to be another proverbial nail in the coffin for a lot of those businesses.
I've got a blog I follow for community radio stations. There's a difference, and some people might have heard like the Corporation for Public Broadcasting got $75 million in Corona bailouts. Well, those are for public radio stations across the United States, but only if you belong to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which most people not realize is a nonprofit group with a board of directors that's picked by Congress. So it's like the government's version of a nonprofit. So in order to get any of that cash, if you're a public radio station, you've got to join them, pay their fees, follow their rules, do their government reports, give them money. Right. It's just something for a radio station in Chewelah totally unaffordable or unreasonable to do. Plus, how well would all that content go over in Chewelah? Because once you do that, you have to carry a certain percentage of their content stuff, too, which I don't think anybody here would usually want to listen to based on our demographics, a lot of it,
Well, and it gets back to what we talked about in the first half of the show was, it's a discriminatory feature towards rural America to begin with. And frankly, one of the things that I enjoy, and I think a lot of people enjoy about KCHW is the ability to drive your content to more of a localized type situation. And even though, you and I don't agree on certain things, that's fine. But at least what's happening is done on a localized basis.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing I saw for public radio coming out was a little fact thing that says what you should do if you have to take your radio station dark. So basically, what you should do if you have to take your radio station off the air because you can't afford it anymore.
Right.
I'm like, well, that's a nice email to send out. Thanks.
By the way, the check's in the mail.
Yeah. All right. If you're getting really bored during the coronavirus, something that might drive you crazy, you've run out of shows to watch on Netflix, well, switch over to YouTube for The Drain Addict. Yeah, this YouTube channel devoted exclusively to an Australian plumber's adventures unclogging drains. Yes, Drain Addict has over 400 videos you can watch on his channel. And if you're into the weirdly gross, one of his friends, Dr. Pimple Popper. And that means our time is up for today. And that's your daily double, Mike.
It is, huh?
Yes. How about let's skip the next story, and we got some odd news coming up. So let's wrap it up with the CDC recommends social distancing for pets.
Oh yeah, I mean the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention (CDC) is recommending people follow the same social distancing guidelines with their pets as they would with human family members after a small number of animals, including dogs and cats, were reportedly infected with the virus that causes COVID-19. The CDC guidelines recommend people restrict their pets from interfacing with other animals when outside their house and urge people to keep cats indoors when possible. Good luck on that. And to walk the dogs on the leash while maintaining at least 6 feet from other people and animals.
Wow.
The CDC also calls for people to avoid dog parks or public places where a large number of people and dogs were gathered.
Wow.
And basically then if a person is sick with a COVID-19, the same rules. The CDC recommends avoiding contact with pets and other animals. A person must care for the pet while sick. Recommend you wear a cloth face covering and wash your hands before interacting with them. CDC said most small number of animals reported the COVID-19 positive were infected after having contact with a person. But this is the important line in the entire story. The risk of having animals spread COVID-19 to people is considered to be low.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. How about a note from Scooby-Doo?
Okay.
That's just how I want to end this set.
Oh, okay.
All right, we are looking at 9:42. If you got to be somewhere, but I'm going to say probably not.
That's probably a pretty good hit.
So me and Mike going to do a couple more songs, and we're going to come back with your daily dose of the stupids. You ready for that, Mike?
I'm ready for that.
All right. I plan, even though we're going to have some great stories for you, I plan on being the most stupid, though.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go. As we get there, John Fogerty, it's the old man down the road, where you will find me and Mike. Okay.
Okay. My head must be shrinking while I'm doing the show because the headset keeps getting looser.
Your new headsets. Let's see. So we start off, if you remember, News Attack.
Right.
With the one-liners. Make sure there's nothing dirty.
I don't think there is. I was looking through it before the show started.
All right. Well, we're running low on time, so I got like 2.5 minutes. I'm going to try to grab sound effects for those last the 4 wacky stories.
Okay.
And we're just going to fly right after the song. Okay?
Okay.
I'll feed it back down.
Okay.
Slap some bacon on a biscuit and let's go. We're burning daylight.
It's the world of strange. A world gone wacky.
Out here, due process is a bullet.
And some of the scariest people on the planet.
I think you're bluffing. Be afraid. You know, you look mighty pretty when you get mad.
It's your odd news on KCHW.
Just sit back and enjoy the show.
Oh yeah, since this is our last break, I should throw this out real quick. This morning's morning show made possible by donations from God-Fearing Brothers Auto Repair and Auto Sales, and our friends right here at the clinic in Chihuahua from New Health. So thank you both very much for supporting public radio here in Chihuahua. We love it.
We love it.
We love it.
It keeps me on the air.
Yes, definitely, definitely. And I really appreciate, at the beginning of last month when I called, and all the sponsors that we had stayed with us that were on the air the previous month, and that it saved KCHW's bacon. So when you hear these different businesses, just realize that they keep this free public utility running, and it's places like Valley Drug and SETI's and our Chamber of Commerce and our Rusty Putter restaurant up at the golf course and Dawson's Sand and Gravel and Ecliptics and Hartels and Dragonfly and our friends at the Independent that always support public radio so well. Yes, and Sporties and New Health. Thank you all so much for keeping KCHW on the air through this. And that lets us have the big guy on, too. And Mike Benz, can you kick us off on our news attack for today, where the first part is true and the second part will be an attempt at a bad joke?
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay, the TSA, the
You're having a hard time.
Working. Okay, the Transportation Security Administration announced this past Sunday marked the second highest number of travelers since April 3rd.
Huh.
Yeah. The planes are empty, but somehow or another, the overhead luggage compartments are still full.
Well, yeah, because since I can't take a vacation, I wanted to send my clothes on one.
That's right. Or it's cheaper to throw them on a plane than it is to send them some other way. I don't know.
It's kind of nice in a way, looking up and not seeing all the vapor trails from all the jets and just plain clear.
Yeah, is it
clear
just
skies?
Me,
No,
you observe in the last couple of weeks that the amount of pollution in the air, even in Chihuahua, has decreased.
Yes, this whole thing, if you go and hit some science websites, they're all talking about it, right down to the whales singing louder than we've ever heard them before. They're so happy. The whales, they say, are happy the ships aren't running. The cruise ships and stuff.
The cruise ships and stuff.
Yeah. And they've talked about bird patterns, and this slowing down of our planet has had a massive positive effect on Mother Earth and her creatures.
Right.
Yeah. And you're right. And I don't know if other people are noticing it. I'm glad you did. Our sky is bluer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just seems that way.
No, it is. It is. Yeah. And though you, like I said, go hit some science websites that are talking about it, and they'll tell you everything's down, to parts per million particulates in our air, and yeah, it's really good. All right, but unfortunately, it's not sustainable. Sorry, Mother Earth.
That's right.
But, it's like some countries are trying to change things while they're down, and this is the perfect time to do that, make some changes.
Right. Yeah. I think people are going to reassess, some of their priorities, and maybe part of it will stick.
Right.
So,
do you think Vice President Mike Pence will reassess his priorities? Because he was told to wear a mask during a visit to the Mayo Clinic, but chose not to. You don't know. Maybe it was Donald Trump wearing a Mike Pence mask.
Mike Pence mask.
I'm sorry.
When I call people and let's say I called you and you answered the phone, and I say, "Hi, Scott, this is Mike Pence, and could I speak to whoever?" People, for a moment, they think I said Mike Pence.
Oh, I bet you get that a lot. Huh?
I get that a lot, actually.
Oh, hey, it's the vice president. I don't know why he wants to talk to you.
Well, I had one attorney I called that immediately got on the phone and once I identified myself, he says, "Oh, if I'd known you, I'd put you on hold."
Dope. Make fun of David Schwimmer for me.
Okay. David Schwimmer was the last holdout for the Friends reunion show.
Wow.
Yeah, he was holding out for a role on Netflix reboot series, Fullest House.
That is not I know people love that show, Friends. I particularly didn't, but I do not see a reason for a reboot of that. It's like old potatoes. They never taste quite right.
Yeah, it's a PR grab.
Yeah.
aging actors wanting to figure out a way to make more money.
Yeah, you should have saved it. You should have invested. You should have invested wisely instead of buying that giant mansion that you would never be able to afford the taxes on once your film career was over.
Yeah, or those 13 Ferraris, or those 2 jets, or whatever. So, yeah.
All right, a third of pet-owning married women say their pets are better listeners than their husbands. Duh. It's because they don't talk, ladies. Well, it's because you never give your husbands a Kong full of frozen peanut butter either, do you? All right.
With lots of time on our hands, we're watching more traditional TV at night. Man, I hadn't thought about that. I haven't watched network TV in years. Is Golden Girls still a thing?
Maybe Nick at Night. You can watch that.
Okay.
You know what?
I don't watch any more traditional TV.
When I was a kid, that shouldn't have been a show for me, but I actually thought Golden Girls was funny. All right. Let's see. May is National Barbecue Month and National Clean Air Month. Huh. Someone should make up their mind. Can't be both.
That's true. And then we have our favorite person, Dr. Anthony Fauci, says he liked the way Brad Pitt portrayed him on Saturday Night Live.
Huh. Wow. I have to go watch it.
And then has invited Brad to replace him at the White House anytime he's ready. Can you imagine that? Donald Trump and Brad Pitt?
I think Brad would take a pop at him.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball hopes to start the season in late June or no later than July 2nd, playing at least 100 regular season games. Oh, well, to make it even better, just play 5 or 6 innings. They run a little long.
Yeah, I agree. The president has ordered beef, pork, and poultry processing plants to remain open despite safety concerns. They're open, they're closed, they're open, they're closed. Stop confusing those poor cows.
Oh, man. Let's think about the cows. What are they going through right now?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, on to the wonderful world of Wacky But True. The entire story is true. That's right. There's no stupid jokes here. It's all contained. Tattoo artist in London has regularly been getting inked himself since he turned 18. But during the COVID-19 lockdown, Chris Woodhead has taken his love for inking to the next level by tattooing himself every day of lockdown. Oh, that sounds painful.
Oh, yeah.
33-year-old said, I started tattooing myself every day to create some kind of structure to how our now seemingly endless days or aimless days. It feels special that my body is evolving so much through the process, he says. I will continue until I run out of space completely. Woodhead had already around 1,000 tattoos at the beginning of quarantine, and now more than 40 days in, his remaining amount of reachable empty skin is limited. Woodhead says he's probably got a month's worth of tattoo space left. Huh.
Okay.
What do you think he drives?
What does he drive?
Yeah, what does he think he drives for a car?
I'm going to say like on Volkswagen Bug.
Wrong. It's this one.
To the idiot mobile.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, wacky but true. I mean, what do you mean? This woman was hospitalized after exercising too hard.
Oh.
Yeah, a 31-year-old woman in China suffered kidney failure after squatting 700 times while exercising.
Oh, my God. Oh. How does that even happen?
Don't ask me.
Man, I've tried working out a couple times since the lockdown. It just made me sweaty and feel bad. Because
you fat bloated idiot.
Oh. All right. Deep cleaning has begun at a Newmarket Library in Suffolk, England. The cleaner has even taken the library books off the shelves and cleaned the shelves and reshelved the books. Cleaner was so helpful, she even put all the books back on the shelves in order. Size order. Okay, one more time.
You are an idiot.
Apparently, she never learned about the Dewey Decimal System.
That's right. Okay, last but not least, a postman in England, Sheffield, England, was confused by a large envelope marked vital survival stuff. The package from Switzerland was addressed simply to David Eason, somewhere in Sheffield, England. Sheffield has about 600,000 residents, so it took the postal carrier doing some detective work to get it to the correct recipient, a freelance radio sports reporter. I'm thinking of a person.
Brandon Hansen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The sender, the package to Eason, turned out to be a listener who scratched onto the outside of the package details he remembered. Eason had said on the air, such as, I think his wife's name is Helen, or they have a child, a dog, or both. The contents in Eason's package, 6 packs of popular chocolate treat similar to a Kit Kat.
So he just liked the DJ.
That's right.
Huh. So what do you think it means, Mike? No one ever sends me food or candy.
What does it mean?
I'm sure he'll have something for me.
Yeah, I'll have to think on that one.
All right.
Okay?
All right. All right, that is our show for today. You have anything you want to throw out there as we head out, Mike?
Just a couple on the chamber side. Keep in mind the chamber bucks are available. You can go to Chewelah.org and purchase them online. They'll be mailed to you, or you can stop by our favorite newspaper, The Independent, and purchase their regular business hours. And we'd like to thank the listeners. And from March, I think 3rd or 5th, somewhere in that neighborhood, until last week, they've stepped up and bought just at $2,500 worth of chamber bucks. And by design, those all have to go back into the community.
Isn't that awesome? That is awesome.
That is very, very awesome. Just to remind people that takeout's available at all the restaurants, and we encourage you to do that. I was sent an article the other day that I'm going to try to figure out how to make newsworthy, is that just think what would happen if everybody spent $50 a month at their local restaurant on takeout, and the number of jobs and businesses that would save.
Definitely.
And then last but not least, SETI's opened up their garden center this last weekend, and it's phenomenal. Paul and the crew have done a phenomenal job of making it not only social distancing friendly, but the layout is great. The products are coming in. I mean, I literally was downtown when the 2 semis showed up. Literally 2 semis showed up with the garden products that went into that center. So
how fun!
He's one of our favorite sponsors, although they're all favorite. And we encourage you to stop by there. And you're supposed to stay home, so what better way to do that than doing a little horticulture at home?
Well, and it's really nice that it's worked out that way, and that they were able, with the delivery issues and stuff and supply issues, that they were able to get it open and start up, because there's so many people doing stuff in their yards. It's like, you're looking for things to do. Oh, I got a project. And some people might need affordable things that they can do with their hands and stuff. So it's great that they were able to get that open like usual. And there you go. We can all play in our yards.
Right. Well, and then Sandy told me yesterday, the flowers that we hang up downtown that are sponsored by the chamber in the city, those were potentially, at least we're supposed to be here May 1st, but now it looks like they won't be delivered until May 15th, but they're definitely coming.
So that's good.
And that'll make a huge difference downtown and making it a little bit more festive, so you can, go out, practice your social distancing, of course, and help those businesses downtown when the help is really needed. So.
Excellent. All right. Anything else?
Nope. I think I got it covered for today.
All right. Tonight on the radio, every night at 6, it's a different genre of music. Tonight we start off with bluegrass, and that'll change to some rockabilly and blues by 8, and then paranormal talk radio on your radio at 10. That all happens right here on Northern Lights Public Radio. I thank you very much for listening and being with us today. And to the big guy, thank you very much. I'm Scott.
You're welcome. I'm Mike.
And this is KCHW 102.7. Gonna leave you with this little piece of a song to help you kick off the rest of your day.
Hello world is a song that we're singing. Come on, get happy.
All right, let me kill YouTube so we can visit.
Okay. Did you see what showed up in place of my picture on YouTube? No, in place of me, there was a whole bunch of rectangulars. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I
there.
saw that. I must have moved something that popped up in front of the web camera that caused like an infinity loop, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of cool, actually.
I wonder what point that. I don't remember clicking nothing, so I don't know what point that happened. Sorry about that.
Maybe it's